let's move right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Walt Disney Company is what we would call in the industry as woke. And I don't like that term, but a perfect example of this has been released yesterday, where they released the trailer for Peter Pan and Wendy. And do you know why it's called Peter Pan and Wendy? Because you can't just name it Peter Pan anymore.
Because women.
It has to have a woman in the name. Exactly. It has to have a woman in the name. It's going to be coming out on April 28th. They're dumping this crap right onto Disney Plus because there's no way this was getting a studio release.
Crazy.
Sorry.
They can invest years into this and millions of dollars into projects like this and just dump it on Disney Plus where no one is going to watch it.
Yep. And so it's very similar to the Little Mermaid. And so what I want to talk about, guys, is the downvotes. Now, if you have regular YouTube on your computer, obviously they hide the downvote tab. Am I right? But I have the thing that reveals the downvotes here. It is gone. Let's see. When I first looked at this trailer this morning, it had 127,000 downvotes to 20,000 upvotes. It now has 27,000 upvotes to 149,000 downvotes. And this was an hour ago, or this was about 45 minutes ago. Let's see where it is now.
Yeah.
It is now at 160,000 downvotes.
And The Little Mermaid, meanwhile, that teaser, not even the full trailer, has 3.5 million dislikes on YouTube.
And it's
people
gonna keep
aren't
going.
happy with this. And when you use these projects, you show like how cheap you think they are to use them as a vehicle for race swapping and race hustling.
It's Burger King Kids Club / College Brochure, the movie. Yeah. I will give them credit by one thing. Like, one of the jokes that I always hear is like, it's like a lot of like SJWs and people in Hollywood, they think that there's only literally two races. They think it's like white people and black people and that's it. Mm-hmm. They've at least race swapped to other races as well. I can give them credit for that while also making fun of the fact that this is just horrible.
Well, I mean, they show how cynical they are when, you know, the obvious race swap from a blonde-haired, blue-eyed character is then a black actress. You can't if it were really colorblind casting, you just by likelihood, just by probability, you might cast somebody who's not black.
Yara Shahidi is her name. She's from Minnesota. She's a Minnesotan. She's apparently the first cousin once removed of Nas.
Have you seen her in anything else?
She's been in literally everything that I've not seen. She's been like, I mean, we're not really the target demographic for grown-ish, black-ish, or any of those shows.
She was in that?
She was in those, like about 100 episodes each. So she's got
me when I'm only in shows that are about being black or in race-swapped character roles.
She has other stuff. And her younger brother is also an actor who is she was in the Alex Cross movie from 2012, and so is he. He played Damon. Her brother played Damon Cross in that movie. But look,
people are also still commenting on the fact that it looks just drab and desaturated, and the color grading just looks like
boring looking.
It looks so dark that you would have to squint in the theater to see what's going on.
And we can look. The number one way, if you're going to do this to your casting, do you want to know the number one way you can at least get the average, maybe the person who's trying to play the middle of the road like me back on your side? Don't be so obvious when you race swap everyone but the bad guys. Yeah. Everyone but the bad guys, meaning all the people on that ship when they shoot the rocket. I almost
thought there would have been some racism controversy about Captain Hook because he's so like swarthy, you know?
No, we know what they should have done.
What race is swarthy?
Like they would have said, "Oh, this is promoting racist tropes about Romani people or some random BS
you know what they
that.
Apparently they were going to have like Will Smith was in the running to play Captain Hook. That might have there's like we had him play the genie.
I can't see him as menacing.
No, but here's the thing.
There's a scene where he slaps Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get out of here.
Keep Wendy's name out your
Didn't they race swap Peter Pan as well?
Yes.
Yeah, they race swapped Peter Pan.
Here's the thing.
How?
You know who they should have casted as Hook? Tony Todd. They should have gotten the candy man.
They didn't show enough of Captain Hook in this trailer, though.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
Denzel would be a good Captain Hook.
Denzel would have been a great,
terrifying.
Would have been a great Captain Hook.
What's funny to me about this is that they're obviously race swapping, and then they make the Lost Boys into the lost they thems
The lost
to
Gems.
supposedly right their past wrongs as a company, because they've been around for so long that of course like you're gonna have some faux pas.
Who's playing Tiger Lily?
But like,
Tiger Lily.
yeah, exactly. I thought immediately, I was like, wait, I remember them getting complaints about racist stereotypes of Native Americans
Her
because
name's-
of the character Tiger Lily.
It's Alyssa Wapanatahk is her name.
So originally she was portrayed like smoking a peace pipe, and all of them would like speak gibberish, and
made
she
a
would like put her
song,
ear
yeah.
to the ground to hear who's coming and stuff like that.
That's the problem.
But like people were mad when like they put a disclaimer on Gone with the Wind, but not on Peter Pan.
Yep.
Like they put a disclaimer for tobacco use on the 1953 animated version.
They love to talk down to cigarettes
Like
and stuff
Brett,
like that.
I
now.
find the race swapping stuff, especially in fantasy and stuff, it's very hard for me to get upset by it. What offends me about this is how bad it looks.
Yep.
It looks bad. It looks bad. Like that's I feel this way, like I've said this before. Wokeness to me isn't just that you've changed something; it's that you are presenting that instead of substance.
Yeah.
That you're like, this is why you
They
should
could
watch
indoctrinate people so much easier if they put actual effort
They
into
made
it.
good. Like I was watching a video of Tyrone Magnus the other day, and he said something kind of insane to me that just I couldn't believe it. He's like, yes, it's like he was talking about things like there are things that are woke that are good.
Well,
The
there
boys,
are.
like I mean, I like he's like
The
he
boys
was,
like walks the line.
but
though.
he was talking about The Last of Us. He said he's like not he wasn't talking about
The
an
Last
episode.
of Us is horrible.
He
so I don't know.
he
what-
likes, but I'm just saying that like for his taste that you
Yeah.
can make it good
Yeah.
and still be woke. Also, I want to talk what you said about how they made Tinkerbell ugly, because this actress is gorgeous.
Well, she
she ugly?
looks bad in the trailer because they've made her skin look gray.
Like she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty lady. Like
she's pretty.
She's not an ugly person, but it's like they went out of their way to make her
And
look
also,
less attractive.
I mean, obviously, somebody you cast as Tinkerbell is supposed to have a cutesy, neotenous face, and she simply doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Like, people were even commenting about Dove Cameron, but Dove Cameron is busy playing Bubbles for the CW.
Yes.
Who is Dove Cameron?
She was, by the
She's
way,
a singer, a Disney kid.
No, okay.
Do you know who they should have
Formerly.
made Tinkerbell?
who?
Chris Burtman?
No.
Oh.
What?
Burt meme?
No. What's the
Who?
guy?
You're my
Billy
Tinkerbell.
Porter.
Billy Porter.
No.
He was already the fairy godmother. He can't play all the fairies.
What if he played
And
Hook?
you know another thing that people were
He's been
bringing
playing
up?
one his whole life.
Yeah. Well, that's not a role. That's just his reality when
a
he
gender
wakes up
role.
in the morning.
I mean, they could.
But like, people also brought up the there was like a series of Tinkerbell animated movies in the 2000s that I really liked as a kid, and they had a fairy named Iridessa in that who was black, and you could easily just like that's an original character. You can just make something adapted off of that instead of going for the cheap shot of outrage marketing, and you're making black women essentially into your vector of attack.
Yep.
And they didn't ask to be that. you
Well,
know?
actually, I disagree with that. I think in Hollywood they love it now. I think
the
they,
Hollywood ones, yes.
Yes.
Ordinary
Yeah.
people, I'm sure, don't want to, watch a movie that has been just like bogged down with so much controversy and online hatred and arguments about it and the social impact of it.
You have to
just
be
want to have
particularly.
fun.
The actors have to be particularly like ambitious to like want to put up with it to take the role.
It's
so that they can,
just so cynical and like it's so shameless what they do.
Yep.
Like they've taken all the spirit of fun and innocence and wholesomeness out of kids' entertainment to talk to adults in the room.
Yep.
And that essentially shows that, like, once again, their target demographic is millennials.
Problem is like it will actually work on some kids. Like there are kids that watch this stuff. Like that's not to be discounted just because it's seemingly being made, with a wink and a nod to like woke adults doesn't mean that there aren't going to be kids that are going to watch this. I will be interested to see if we get to see any videos of like little kids crying saying I didn't think that I could be a
of
fairy
course.
until I saw this video.
Yeah.
Of course, weirdos are, like, gonna start recording their children, getting them to cry in front of the Peter Pan trailer because they're using their children as woke capital.
Yep, and that's what it is. So like okay, so how do you fix it?
How do you fix this?
How do you fix it?
Fire everyone.
Is that even possible?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I don't know.
Bob Iger doesn't want to do that.
No, he doesn't.
He likes this.
I don't. Does he? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is what
'cause this
reimagining
he likes
tomorrow is
money.
all
This
about.
this would
Yeah,
have
but
been
this
this was
doesn't make
greenlit.
money.
This
Well,
was
they don't know that
greenlit.
yet.
Money, yeah.
This was
They should know.
greenlit.
They've got 10 years of it.
Yeah.
This was greenlit before COVID and got postponed. So this is from the Iger generation.
Wow.
So
Come on, Bob.
this is
You're
not a
better than
Chapek
this.
creation. This is an Iger creation.
I guess they're both
and,
Bob.
and he loves this stuff.
Yeah, dude, I don't know how you do. I think you go to alternatives.
Different stories.
Yeah. Well, no. Like,
Nobody's
stopped-
complaining about the races of characters in Encanto. They're not. That's not a thing. Like it's people only get mad and it's disingenuous.
They got mad
you
when
make
white kids wanted to dress up as those characters.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other argument.
but there is no. I don't think there's a way to fix this because money doesn't speak to them. It's about message. Like,
Yeah.
it has been about message. They will like operate on a loss on these things to do this because reasons. I don't know. They have their money coming in somewhere. But as we've talked about, infantilized adults can't stop buying like Loungefly bags and going to Disney World for 2,000 days in a row. So
2,995 days.
It's almost
in a
at
row.
3,000.
yeah. Okay. Well,
So-
he's got 5 days left. Okay. We'll talk about it when we get there. But no, I like alternatives. Like, also, I just think like controversial on the pop culture show, but we're entertaining ourselves to death. To where like we
Yeah.
are, that's why we're infantilized, just because we don't have serious issues to talk about.
Because
We're
people
like,
can't afford to buy homes, so they have to
True.
spend their time watching Disney stuff because they don't have a home to fix up
Right,
at
like-
night.
yeah, like there is a place for escapism, but
Yeah.
it's no longer escapism if you spend 51% or more of your time there.
Yeah.
At least people are calling this out. I was happy to see that on
It's just-
the
but-
comments section
why-
of the
but
trailer.
why?
The comments
That's
were
what they
amazing.
want.
They're all like making references to Star Wars and Marvel, especially like
Let's
acting like it's all in one universe. One comment said, "I love the part when Tinkerbell says, if you don't like it, don't watch it.'
Yeah.
So brave of her." Another person said, "I love the part when Peter Pan looks at the fairy and says, the dark side is strong with you."
I like the part when Wendy turns to Peter and says, "With great power comes great responsibility." Truly gave me chills.
I love that part when Peter says it's panning time, and then he proceeds to flip the best pancakes Captain Hook has ever seen.
I love the part where
Captain
Peter Pan
Hook.
shouts to Wendy, "Get to the chopper."
Wonderful.
So yeah, the whole comment section is like this, but like you said, it was getting dumped on Disney Plus. This was never going anywhere near theaters. It was never going to happen.
A friend of mine posted something, not about this, it was about Ariel, the Little Mermaid, saying like woke is a term people use when they don't have the intellectual depth to understand nuance. And I was like, no, it's literally
the
the
op-
opposite.
it's the opposite
It is
of
the
that.
opposite. Like, because people do look at shows like this and they're like, wow, they just can't stand people of color in movies. And
The
it's like,
people with the nuance are the ones
But
who will
that's
give you
why
a-
they
a-
set up these situations.
Yeah.
They set up, like with race swapping, they're doing it for outrage, like
Right.
to stoke outrage, instead of just fomenting like organic hype around a new project.
Right.
It's a lot easier to make people get angry about each other, and then they'll say the name of the movie enough times on Twitter
Yep.
to make it trend.
The sad part is like I really do believe that all they had to do is like once in a while is just make the bad guys, but like don't just suspiciously not race swap the bad guys. Like
I
do
hate
that once in a while, and people will think that you're
How,
being more.
didn't we do a story where like a black actor was like, I never get to play bad guys?
Yes, that
Like-
was
Yeah.
Camille Nanjiani says he wants to play bad
yeah.
guys, and he's like they won't let him because Hollywood
But then
is super
on the
racist.
other side of the issue, John Leguizamo is saying,
All I get is bad guys.
Yeah, all I play is bad guys. Like,
Well, then be less of a scumbag.
can we like get one coherent narrative?
Well,
from
his
them,
is because
please?
like he actually his is different because what he's doing is he's not taking into account that he's just done it well in the past, so he's been typecast. It's not
What about
ra-
John
there's
Wick?
still
He plays a good
something
guy in John
always
Wick.
to complain about.
like kind of a good guy in John Wick. He's still like running
Criminal.
car. Like
they
he's still
all
criminal.
are. There's
Yeah,
no
they're-
good guys in that movie.
But the
don't
po-
be in the movie then.
But the
a-hole.
point is like he's been typecast himself, not based on what he looks like, but just his past roles.
He's had
With-
7 movies
okay.
where he played a demonic clown.
Brett, why is The Little Mermaid self-explanatory as a theater release, but this isn't?
I mean, I think of The Little Mermaid as a bigger deal than Peter Pan, but that's just there've probably been more animated movies based around Peter Pan.
There's been
There
more
have been.
marketing for it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything about Peter Pan until this.
Yeah,
They're
like
probably doing this for
plus
a
it's-
Tinkerbell
plus Woman.
like spin-off.
Twinker.
That would be Billy
Billy
Porter.
Mulvaney, Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
Wait, we're geniuses.
Dylan Mulvaney could play Peter. Could play Peter Pan.
I actually
and
could
Billy
see
Porter and Billy Porter could play
Peterless
Hook.
Man.
Yes.
I want Billy Porter.
I would watch that.
I'm telling you, if Billy Porter gets to play the fairy godmother, he also gets to play Hook. Both of them.
I'm in.
Yikes.
The fairy.
Unfortunately, I think Billy Porter is like owned by Nickelodeon right now, not Disney.
Fairy
so.
God Hook. Play both of them.
Fairy
In
God
fact,
Hook.
just make it a mixed universe.
This is
and,
such a
and just,
nightmare.
yeah, it's like.
Okay. Also, I wanted
be
to say,
Captain
like,
Look, 'cause
I
he'd be
hate
stylish.
the implication that, a white character is for white people, because that was never the case. Like, 1989 Ariel and 1953 Tinkerbell, these were white characters that just so happened to be white, and they were loved universally, and it was never even implied or made explicit that, like, you had to be white in order to identify with her. But now that they're being race swapped, the response, like, praising that decision is saying, like, oh, this is finally a character for black girls.
Yeah.
That is just for us. But, like, real equity, if that's what you really wanted, would be to make a black character that can be universally liked and identified with. But you don't want that. Same with Encanto. When all these white kids want to dress up as Encanto characters for Halloween, then they're told that they're culturally appropriating.
Or Moana.
It's never a two-way street.
Yeah, Moana.
Or Moana, yeah.
That was a big one.
Or Coco, that was another one.
I saw this great cosplay the other day of the lady crawling out of from the ring, out of the TV. She like literally crawls out of a TV at a Comic-Con.
Ooh.
A bit of a sidestep. It's never two-way street, and the problem with that is that it has to be left unspoken, because only people that are willing to make it a big deal speak about it, and then kids are left to wonder why they're not allowed to do something like this. So the rules are going to be different. Like, there are people who dressed up like there's a podcast I listen to, like a wrestling podcast I listen to, where he talked about how he went as like Run DMC for Halloween in the 80s, and he wore like blackface, and he's like, it wasn't a big deal because you were going as somebody you emulated, right? So like it wasn't even like what he thought of as blackface. He was just going as somebody that he looked up to. And now it's not like the people who go as Princess Jasmine or the people that go as Cinderella that are of a different race wear makeup. You don't need to do that. And maybe that was wrong of that guy to do it in retrospect. I don't think it necessarily was, because it was so long ago. But the idea is that they're creating it to divide, right? So you're sectoring people off into their separate realms where they're allowed to like things. And
Yeah.
where they're allowed
It's
to
a
not.
case of like, I'm not mad about the thing. What I'm mad about is them being like, aren't you so mad about this? I'm like, no, I actually don't care that you have this actress who I'm sure is wonderful playing this role. What bothers me is that you're doing it, you're using this person, and you're using this entire project to piss me off. And that pisses me off. Like the intent behind it, not the thing itself. There are plenty of like examples that we've covered a dozen times of like characters that were originally one inherent characteristic that have changed over time into something else.
I didn't even know that there was a Man on Fire before the Denzel Washington Man on Fire.
Excellent example.
I
didn't know either.
I didn't know that, and I just like the other day I was like watching it on Hulu, the Denzel Washington one, and they got rid of it apparently, like it's off the streaming service now. And I clicked on the old one. I'm like, that doesn't look like Denzel Washington. Wow, I was like hitting my TV. Is there something wrong with my television?
The
like,
picture's off.
But I mean, the number one thing
Give
there
me
is that
Denzel back.
Disney is using unknown actors, and when they do when people have done these, when they've done these race swaps in the past, when they worked, it's because it's being done with actors that people actually like.
When did it work, though?
What?
When did it work?
Like with Denzel Washington in Man on Fire, or with
I feel like
Nick,
specifically
John
with
Q is another
content,
one.
yeah, not
Q.
Nick Fury, Samuel L.
specifically
Jackson.
with content that is geared toward young girls, that has never worked.
The race swapping.
No.
I'd have to
And
think
it's
about it
done
more.
because it's geared toward young girls specifically. Like, that's the intent behind it, is re-education.
If
It's actually a miracle that as late as 2013 they made a ginger protagonist Merida.
that was one thing I was gonna say. The one time it does bother me is that they do it to every single ginger. Every time.
But they can't possibly do that to Merida, right? Because she's literally Scottish royalty, right?
I mean, they made
did to Anne Boleyn.
They made Anne Boleyn black.
Well-
So yes, they can. They can absolutely do that. If they can do it to a historical figure and tell you to F off, then they can do whatever they want.
There are certain stories
He
where I'm
was
like,
Anne
even the
Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn one doesn't bother me that much because it's like it's how many different versions of Shakespeare have we seen? How many Sense and Sensibility? Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like
Leonardo DiCaprio. And
I mean, it still comes off as stupid when you have like Bridgerton, for example. Like, it's just obviously ahistorical. But
Right,
they're
but,
doing
like,
it
but
because they
sometimes
know
it's
that the
fantasy.
people watching it are not historically educated enough to know that this never happened.
or they don't care, and that's the ones that I'm unoffended by. The ones that are like, whatever, like that's fine. But if it's like we're going to piss people off and we're going to use the outrage to market this movie, that bothers me. It's not the like just it's pretend. It's all pretend. Like Shakespeare, it's all pretend. If there's an all-black cast of Romeo and Juliet, why would I care? Like, do it.
Well,
they
it's
already made a
done
better version of
for-
that. It's called Romeo Must Die, starring Jet Li and Aaliyah. And everyone should be watching that. That movie's incredible.
But like, it's the same as like people covering jazz standards. Like, why if one was originally by Nina Simone, and like, well, no, Muse cannot cover this. This was, a song originally performed by a black
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah, you cannot
You'd
play
be like,
Feeling Good Muse. You're not allowed.
Yeah, and it's great.
It is.
But it's like
I heard the
stories
Muse one
should not
first.
be like changing things shouldn't be taboo from.
Yeah,
either
but I
direction.
think
It's
we're
just the
kind of running
intent.
into our own hubris of trying to like force everyone to get along anyway.
But they're
So-
not. They're forcing everyone to not get along, and that's the thing that bothers me. If it was just they're like, hey, yeah, we're making Peter Pan again, and this time she's playing Tinkerbell. We've had 17 Tinkerbell since 2017. Like, I don't.
Well, I
care.
just mean like the project of trying to make humans who look different not recognize that they look different was never going to work, and we're running into it not working.
Right, and and I agree with you that there are cases where it's like, come on, like if you were going to do there was talk of Jamie Foxx playing Frank Sinatra a few years ago, and it's like,
Frank Sinatra wasn't even white.
it's like, come on, like, what are you doing? That would some people
He
are like,
gets
well,
to
if
play
he's
Ray
the,
and
right, right.
Not fair.
But like
That's
that
weird.
just wouldn't work because it's a true historical. Like it wouldn't.
I mean, but Anne
It would-
Boleyn was a real person too.
True, but my point is like if you were he was going to play him in the Frank Sinatra movie, it wouldn't be like he was playing him live on stage for one weekend. I would be like, that's awesome, let's go
The
see it.
show is literally called Anne Boleyn.
I know that, but there are many
Yeah.
different versions. I'm saying it's like a jazz standard.
Okay.
Like if it's people do it all the time, like how many Sense and Sensibilities are there? It's the same with the ambulance, or how many different versions of it are there? And I
Can't
find
wait
that
to get
interesting.
like the.
especially if it's so
Maybe-
detached from us.
I wonder
at
if
this
we'll
point.
start race swapping like sports heroes. Like, will we get black Babe Ruth and white Michael Jordan? Maybe
Well, we'll
can-
never get white Michael
I-
Jordan.
Yeah, no.
It would be cool though. No, it
It'd be really
probably
weird.
wouldn't be.
It would be cringe.
Or they can like maybe
White
when
Britney
they
Griner.
make when they make the Eminem movie, they just make him black and it makes everything make sense. Makes everything make sense.
They would-
All right.
if they're gonna start doing white versions of black characters, they better all be gingers.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.